Good to be in the house of God. And a big hello to everybody who's watching online as well. We want to say thank you for being part of the Vima family. Come on, Vima, can we welcome everybody online today too? Let's let them know, let them feel on the other side of those cameras that they're loved, right? So yeah, we are from the other Wichita. In fact, I think our Chamber of Commerce is developing a shirt that says, not the Wichita you're thinking of, all right? So yeah, if you're not, even people from Texas think, oh, that's in Kansas, right? No. Wichita Falls is in Texas, right? So it is an honor to be with you. And like Pastor John said, we met a little over a year ago and really just hit it off from the beginning. And I want to take a minute just to honor your pastors because they planted this church 6 weeks before COVID. Come on. You know, that was a pretty, they had no idea that was going to happen. But there's a lot of churches that were planted way before that didn't survive. A lot of churches that were planted the same time period didn't survive. And Vima didn't just survive, but they're thriving. You're thriving right now, and your pastors, John and Stephanie, are the real deal. And I want to tell you that what God is doing here is not normal. It's, you might think it is. You might think, well, this is just kind of the normal thing for church plants. It is not normal. So can we just honor your pastors, John and Stephanie, today? Thank God for them. Yeah. They're pretty incredible. So we are in the last installment of the series, Resurrection. And we've been talking about different topics through the weeks. Pastor John last week talked about the rhythm of rest and Sabbath. And so today, I felt like you did such a great job last week. He just kind of gave me a soft toss to be able to preach this message today. And I want to talk about how to handle stress. How to handle stress. Just a quick poll. Anybody in the room stressed today? A couple people. How many of you know someone who is stressed? All right. Okay, more hands are going up there, right? Yeah. So stress is a real deal. We're all dealing with different kinds of stress. The stress comes in different ways. Last week he talked about busyness. That's one of the ways that stress comes. But I thought we would start today by just having a little bit of fun and maybe just some fun about things we stress out about sometimes that really aren't a big deal, but we feel like it's a big deal. So this is supposed to be funny. So you're supposed to laugh. Okay, all right. So couple things that we stress out about is I'm starving, but all we have is leftovers. I just don't want leftovers. I'm so stressed. Or how about this one? I got a job, but now I have to start waking up early again, and I'm stressed. You know, stressed out over stuff like that. How about this one? The remote is over there, and I'm all the way over here. I don't want to get up. Stressing. There's nothing to drink at home except an endless supply of fresh, clean drinking water. I'm just so stressed. I need my Sprite. I need my Dr. Pepper, whatever. How about my new iPhone is too big for my skinny jeans. I'm going to have to get a smaller phone or bigger jeans. I just don't know which one. So we stress out about silly things, right? Here's the reality. The reality is you're in one of three places. You are either in the middle of a stressful situation right now, you're coming out of a stressful situation, or you're about to go into a stressful situation, right? You're in one of those three places, and some of you are thinking, well, you're supposed to be positive, Ben. You're supposed to bring the word, encourage us, and be positive. And I would just tell you today, I am positive you're going to have stress in your life, right? I'm just being positive with you. You're going to have stressful times. In fact, Jesus said it this way, in this world, you will have trouble. Okay, it's not a maybe, not a might, but you will have trouble. But he says, hey, don't stress out about it because I've handled things for you. I've overcome the world, all right? And then in Luke, he says it this way. He's talking about the end of times, and Jesus says, be careful or your hearts will be weighed down with what? With the anxieties of life. You're going to be stressed out over things that happen in life, things oftentimes that you have no control over, right? And isn't that what we stress out about most of the time? Is stuff that we can't even control. We can't even make a difference with that thing. It's something that happened to us, right? And so if you've got your notes, I want you to get ready, take some notes with me today, fill in the blanks in your that you got when you came in today. But the question of the day is, why are we so stressed in America? The APA, American Psychological Association, says that Americans have been stressed for decades. It's not something new, right? In fact, they say that Generation Z, 13 to 23-year-olds, are the most stressed generation on the planet. So why are we so stressed? And I think it's because we're not dealing with the root issue. I feel like we're stressed because we think that we can keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. Do you know what that's called? Insanity. When we keep doing the same thing over and over again and we expect something to change. But I want to tell you, it's not going to get better and it's not going to change until you and I change. That was a good place to say amen right there. I know we want everybody else to change. But the fact is, if everybody else changes and we don't change, we're still going to be miserable and stressed in our lives. I'm preaching today. All right, so what we're doing in our American society is we're putting Band-Aids on gashes that need stitches. And we just feel like, I don't really need to change much. I don't really need to do anything about this. I'll just keep gliding. I'll keep coasting in this way, and I'm just telling you it's not going to work. So here's the bottom line. We're doing too much. We're trying to fit too much in our lives, and the stress is our body's way of saying, no, you have to stop. You have to slow down. You have to do what Pastor John taught last week and rest. And you have to say no to some things. And that's why we're angry, we're irritable, we're fatigued, we're demotivated, we're anxious and nervous, and we have headaches, and we're depressed and upset stomachs, and we have muscular tension, and we're eating too much, we're eating too little, we're grinding our teeth. Why? Stress. We're just not dealing with the root issue. Job said it this way. He said, my days go by faster than a runner. They fly away without me seeing any joy. And I don't know if you feel like that sometimes. You feel like you feel like you're at a NASCAR event, just watching your days go by, and there's no joy. There's no sort of joy in your life. And so what I feel like today is I feel like, and let me say this. I'm glad we don't live by feelings, but it sure is nice to feel what we're running on sometimes. That we have Jesus in our lives and we have His presence that we can feel. What I feel like is that if we can understand what causes us stress, then we'll be able to fix the issues. If we can understand where the stress is coming from, then we'll be able to fix what's going on in our life. And so I want to take a moment on this Memorial Day weekend, and I want to talk to you about how to handle stress. I'm going to give you 4 reasons why we're stressed, 4 principles of truth that go along with it. So for every reason we're stressed, there's a truth that you need to buy into. Okay, so you don't just believe it, you have to live it out. So there's a truth that goes along with it. And then I'm going to give you three practical ways to handle stress, all right? So if you're ready, just say, I'm ready. Okay, if you've got your notes, get ready to take notes, because here's the first reason we're stressed. It's because we have unlimited options. I think options are good. But we get stressed when we have unlimited options. How many of you remember the day before smart TVs came out? When you could only watch on TV what was on TV, like what was live in the moment. You didn't have all of these apps that you could choose for. Some of y'all don't even know that there was a time that we had non-smart TVs. So, but now we have all of these options. What do you want to watch? I don't know. Let's just scroll for a while until we find something. We have Hulu and Roku and Netflix and Disney Plus and all of these different options. For every TV channel that's out there, there's an app that goes along with it, and we have all these options. We have these options of where do you want to eat? I don't care. What do you want? I don't know. When it comes to your workout, when it comes to where to shop, there's all of these options, and we get stressed about it. For some of us, we used to have this game called playing in the dirt, right? We didn't watch TV. We just went outside and we played and we had fun and we relieved the stress, and we pretended, and we had this imagination that was as big as the sky. And I feel like for some of us, we have too many options, and it just stresses us out in life. And so here is the truth that we need to buy into. And the truth is that it's better to have less of what doesn't matter and more of what does matter. Okay, I need to have less of some things that really are pulling me away from what matters the most in my life. And I need to put more of what really makes a difference in my life. So this is hard for us to believe, though. It's hard for us to buy into in this culture because we live in a culture where more is better. I'll prove it to you. Help me out here. If $1 is good, $2 is better. Oh yeah, come on. If one Krispy Kreme donut is good, come on, 2 Krispy Kremes is better. It's better. If one car is good, 2 cars are better. If one kid is good, 2 kids are. Oh yeah. If one wife is good, then 2 wives is wrong. We don't do that, right? That's not something. It's not that kind of church. We don't go there. More is not always better. The richest, wisest man in all of the earth said it this way: it's better to have 1 handful with tranquility, with peace, than to have 2 handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. Constantly trying to find relief and to find your joy and to find your peace in whatever you might attain. I'm just telling you, we just need to we need to say no to some things, have less of what doesn't matter so we can have more of what does. All right, so second reason we're stressed is because we have a relentless social pressure. Relentless social pressure. So the way I see this play out in our society today is through social media. And I'm not preaching against social media, but I'm telling you my story. So I've been off social media for the most part for a little over a year. I can access it on my computer. I don't have it on my phone anymore because I found myself scrolling my life away. And I began to take on the burden of everybody who is posting. And I began to, as you scroll, you begin to take on other people's offense because, not everybody posts positive things on social media, do they? And you begin to take on their offense, and you hear their side of the story, and you begin to take on the burdens of people around you. And the Bible actually says we should bear one another's burdens, but it doesn't say you should bear everyone's burdens. And for a lot of us, social media is becoming this thing where we're weighed down by everything that's happening in the world. We were never meant to be weighed down by all of the atrocities in life. When you can have, in a moment's notice, you can know everything that's going on in the world and all the negativity is caving and pressuring down on you, you weren't meant for that. And so we have this relentless social pressure that I have to know. I have to experience. And I've got to see what's going on in other people's lives, and it's too much for us. It's too much. So it even gets a little bit difficult when we're raising kids, right? For those of you with multiple kids, you know what I'm talking about when you have to be in more than one place at the same time. And you've got kids who they need to be in 3 or 4 places at the same time. It begins to wear on you because you can't do it. You begin to realize, I'm going to need some help. So I know that there's not a lot of good things that came out of the pandemic, but I think there was one good thing that came out of the pandemic, and it was drive-by birthday parties. Come on, y'all know what I'm talking about? I think we need to bring it back. Drive-by birthday parties. If you don't remember what that was, it was when you couldn't get together. Okay, we had to quarantine, but people would drive by your house and they would throw gifts out the window and they would wave and drive off. I miss that. Because when you have 4 kids, there's a chance that you've got to be at multiple birthday parties on the same day. And now can I just say, you're not wasting your Saturday, but you're using a lot of your Saturday at these parties. And you have to, it's like you have to bribe the other kids to come to your party with party favors so that they'll also invite your kids to their party, right? And drive-by is awesome because they just drive by, throw the gift out, and you're like, hey, see you later. Thank you. Appreciate it, right? And I love that. I want to bring it back. Maybe we should start a campaign. Bring back drive-by parties. Because why? Here's why. We're going to have to say no to some good things. I'm just using that as an example. There's some good things out there that we just have to say no to so that we can say yes to the best things. There's some really good things, but they take up the time. Really good things, but they stress you out. There's really good things, but it's not the best things in your life. And a lot of people would say, well, Pastor Ben, I just don't have time. I don't have time. I mean, I want to serve at Vima, but Pastor John, I just don't have time to serve. I want to go to Serve Day, but we've got so much going on right now. We just don't have the time. And I would just beg to differ with you that we have plenty of time. In fact, you have so much time on your hands that in your lifetime you will eat out 14,411 times. 1,811 of those will be at McDonald's. I just don't have time, man. I just don't have time to do this. But you have time to watch TV for 13 years and 4 months by the end of your life. I just don't have time. I don't have time, but I'm going to spend 5 years of my life waiting in line. I'm going to spend 3 years of my life in meetings, 1 year of my life looking for misplaced items, or if you're my wife on the front row, could be 2 years. I'm sorry. Or how about this? Drive 627,000 miles around in your lifetime. I think that's probably more today. That's 25 times around the world. So we have time. It's just going in different directions. We have time. It's just not being spent wisely. And Paul said it this way in Ephesians. He says, be careful then how you live. Okay, don't live unwise, but live as wise. What does a wise life look like? A wise life is when you make the most of every opportunity. Why? Because the days are evil. Hey, everybody, I don't know if you saw this past week. The days are evil. And so we've got to live our lives making the most of every opportunity. And when we do that, we will understand what the Lord's will is. Don't be foolish. Spend your life the way God has called you to spend your life. So we all get the same amount of time, but we don't get the same results. We get the same amount of time, but we don't get the same results. Here's why. It's because, I'm sorry, it's not on there. You can write this down if you want to. Here's why. If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. You have all the time in the world, but you don't get the same results as the people around you. Why? Because maybe you're not prioritizing things. And if you don't prioritize your life, the coach will. Your boss will, your spouse will, the HOA will, right? Whatever, it'll prioritize your life. Little League will. We've got to prioritize our lives because it's a relentless social pressure. Okay, here's number 3. Number 3 is we're stressed because we think we can have it all. We think we can have it all. And we see this in the $39 billion a year self-storage industry, which basically is we have so much stuff that we can't fit it into the house that we're already paying a mortgage for. So we go rent another smaller house and pay a separate mortgage for it, a storage unit. We lease it so that we can store all of the stuff that we don't want or we've forgotten about or we don't have enough room for in our house. And so we think we can have it all. But here's the thing about having it all. Okay, if you think having it all makes you happier, that's the myth. I'll say it this way. There's the myth of more out there. The myth of more says the more you have, the happier you'll be. The myth of more says the more you have, the less stress you'll have in your life. But what I've observed is the people who have more actually have more stress in their life because they have more to worry about. They have more to pay for. They have more to maintain. We just put a pool in, I know. You know what I'm saying? Like we have more to maintain. We think we can have it all. Americans are outspending their income like by 20%. They're spending 120% of their income. Americans have a $1 trillion on credit card debt. $1 trillion. We think we can have it all. Student loans have increased 100% in the last 10 years. And as a society, we have this compulsive craving for things, to have more, to have the best, to have the latest. But the richest, wisest man said, whoever loves money never has enough. Never have enough. And by the way, I'm not preaching against having things. Please don't misunderstand that. It's the problem is when those things begin to have us and they begin to stress us out, right? So whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income, because the more you have, the more people will gladly help you spend it. So what good is wealth except maybe to just watch it slip through your fingers? And he says, the richest man who ever lived says, the rich seldom get a good night's sleep. So the myth of more says, I'll be happier if I have these things. And what I've observed is that we get what we want. We can have almost anything we want. We can charge it. We can put it on the credit card. We can do whatever we want. We can have what we want, but we're never fulfilled. Do you know why we're never fulfilled? Because there's only one person who can fulfill our lives. And so we're trying to let this stuff fulfill us, and all it does is stress us out. And the reason we're never fulfilled is because God is the one who's supposed to fill that void in our lives. Proverbs 15 says it this way: it's better to have little with the fear of the Lord than to have great treasure and inner turmoil. So we're stressed because we think we can have it all. And maybe you should have it all eventually, but just not at the same time. Not right now, all right? Here's number 4. Number 4 is we're stressed because we think we can do it all. All the soccer moms in the house, I love you. But we think we can do it all. That I can go from here to there to there to here to there, and it's not gonna bother me. It's not gonna hurt me. It's not gonna wear me out. But I'm just telling you, it will wear you out. We can't do it all. When I was a kid, I grew up in East Tennessee. That's the accent, okay? Not a Texas accent. So I grew up in East Tennessee. And all of my summers were spent at the city pool. So back then, our little city had a pool, and every summer I was there, and I would be jumping off the diving board. I learned all the tricks. I could do gainers and twists and turns. I could do all kinds of tricks because I spent my whole life growing up at the pool. And I remember watching as these 35, 40-year-old guys would do a trick, and then they would get out of the pool going, oh, man, I shouldn't have done that, man. Shouldn't have done it. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm never going to be that guy. I'm never going to let myself get like that until I turn 35 or 40. And I'm climbing out of the trampoline foam pit at Urban Air, and I'm going, oh, man, I shouldn't have done that, right? What was the problem? I thought I could do it all. I thought I could do the things that I used to do when I was 12, 13, 14 years old. And over time, I've come to realize that I can't do the things that I used to do, that I can't do it all. And for some of us in the room today, we're overestimating our abilities. You're overestimating what you're capable of. You're overestimating what you're able to do. And so that's why you overbook yourself. That's why your calendar has no room for margin. And you run from one meeting to the next meeting to the next meeting. And you're like Job, who says, my days go by faster than a runner. I'm not seeing any joy. And so I can't do all the tricks I used to be able to do. But I feel like the guy who wrote the song, I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. Y'all know that song, right? Yeah. I feel like I could do it once. It may hurt me, but I could do it, right? So some of you are overestimating. You're overestimating what you're able to do, and it's catching up to you, and it will cost you. So I'm just the preacher that's coming in for the weekend, and and I'm going to stir some things up in you. But my hope and my prayer is that you would begin to look at your life and look in areas that maybe you're overestimating your abilities. Maybe you're doing some things that are stressing you out. Your schedule is packed. You have no time for rest, no time for Sabbath. Your days are going by faster than a runner. What do you do about that? You've got to believe that it's better to do the right things, not just more things. A practical step is to, for everything you add to your life, take something away. For everything you add to your calendar, take something off, because you can't keep running at the pace you've been running. So what we're going to do is we're going to live intentionally. We're going to live on purpose. We're going to quit measuring our lives based on what we have. We're going to quit measuring our lives based on what other people have around us. We don't have to keep up with the Joneses. We don't have to measure up to anybody else. And we're going to focus on the things that matter most. My friend, Pastor Tom Watson, he calls it MIT, the most important things. And we're going to do those things first. Because if I don't do anything else today, I need to do these three things. I'm going to do the most important things first. And I'm not just going to do more things, all right? So that's the reasons why. That's why we are stressed. What I want to do now is I want to show you how to handle that stress, okay? I gave you some truths that you need to buy into, but I want to show you three things for how do you handle it, okay? And so in your notes, jot this down. Number one, we have to evaluate our lives. If I'm dealing with stress, and many of you raised your hands, I raised my hand. I'm stressed. I have stress in my life. Then what I'm going to do a practical step I'm going to do to fix this is I'm going to evaluate things, okay? This is practical Christianity, what you can do Monday through Saturday, all right? You don't have to crack a code to be able to figure out what I'm talking about. Evaluate what's going on in your life. So you're going to ask some questions like, how am I doing? Am I making a difference? Am I doing the right things? Am I doing too much? Am I distracted from what matters in my life? And for some of you, you need to be reminded that your time on earth is brief. You need to be reminded how brief your time on earth is. You need to be reminded that your days are numbered. You need to be reminded that your life is fleeing away and that your life is no longer than the width of your hand. You need to be reminded that your entire lifetime is just a moment to God. It's a vapor. It's here today and it's gone tomorrow. You don't have all the time in the world. It's just a breath. And when we remember that, we can begin to evaluate things and make sure that we're doing the right things and not just more things. We put the right things in order in our lives. And for most of us, maybe not all, for most of us, we bring the stress on ourselves, right? I mean, it's really not the boss, not the spouse, not the coach. We're doing it to ourselves. We're out of alignment. We're doing things that stress us out. We're overcommitting. We're overstimulating. We're overspending. We're overeating. We're oversleeping. We're overachieving. And it's taking a toll on our lives. In fact, I think most of us wouldn't even know how to live without stress in our lives. We would feel like we're going insane because, like, I'm not supposed to feel this way. I'm not supposed to feel good. And so I want to give you a practical way to evaluate your life. This comes from a book called Leading on Empty by Pastor Cordero. He wrote this book when he was going through a mental breakdown, a nervous breakdown, a burnout in ministry. And he came up with a dashboard of 12 things, 12 ways, gauges that you can evaluate your life. And you can snap a picture of this if you want to. Why don't you take a look at this? 12 different things. Your faith, okay? Evaluate your faith. Where are you in your relationship with God? Where are you in your time with God? What about your family? Are you spending time with your family? Some stats show that dads only spend about 8 minutes a day with their kids. How's your family doing? Where are you at with your marriage? Okay, are you dating your spouse? Are you guys going out? Are you taking time away from your kids to work on you? How about your job? Is your job a calling or a career? Like where how do you feel about that? What about your technology? How much time are you spending on tech? In your ministry? Are you serving the way that you want to serve? Are you making a difference in the kingdom of God the way He's called you to make that difference? your social life, attitude, finance, creativity, physical life, your travel life. And you just begin to evaluate those things and put them in the right order, okay? Here's the second practical step. Number 2 is you've got to eliminate the non-essentials. So I'm evaluating the things in my life, first of all, but then secondly, I've got to eliminate stuff that doesn't matter, stuff that doesn't belong, okay? And this is where we have to disappoint people sometimes. I'm sorry I can't make it. I'm sorry I can't be there. We already have something scheduled. We already have something on the calendar. You could, for instance, if you were going to take a day off, a real day off, put that on your calendar. And then when people come to you and say, hey, can I meet with you? Can I do this? You say, no, I have something that day already. And they don't need to know what it is. You just have, I'm booked up. I already have appointments. I'm sorry, I can't do something. I'm going to, and what you're doing is you're saying no to some things. You're eliminating maybe some non-essentials. And all of us have something that we need to let go of. All right? Let me ask you, what are the things you need to let go of? What are the things that you can do without? What are the things that you need to change? Okay? And for a lot of people, it revolves around money. Money is one of the biggest stressors in life. For some of us in the room today, it's that time of the month when you get stressed out. It's the time of the month when that second car payment comes around. And you love the car, but you're going, God, I'm going to have to transfer money again to make the payment. Wouldn't it be better if you could just sell the car and pay cash for something that gets you to point A and B, and then you can live a different kind of life? You don't have to be stressed every time that rent payment or that mortgage payment or whatever it is comes around. You've got to eliminate some things in your life. I love what Psalm 90 says. Teach us to number our days and recognize how few they are. To spend our days as we should. To budget our days the way we should. All right, number 3, practical step is we have to elevate what matters the most. All right, elevate what matters most. And Jesus talked about this in his Sermon on the Mount. Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, Jesus says, seek first his kingdom, his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So we're evaluating our life. We're trying to figure out what really belongs and what doesn't. We're eliminating some things that don't need to be there. But at the end of the day, we have to elevate what matters most. And you can tell what matters most in your life based on what's first in your life. You can tell what matters most in your life based on what is first in your life. And for some of us, like, God's in our life, but he's not first in our life. For some of us, God is on our list, but he's not at the top of our list. And I would say to you today, if God's not at the top of your list, then he's not on your list. If he's not on the top of your list, he's not on your list. And for some of you today, what you've got to do is you've got to elevate what matters most. What matters most to you? What matters most to you? Would you bow your heads with me today? I want to ask you what I ask our church every week, and that is, what is the Holy Spirit saying to you right now? What's he speaking to your heart? What's he speaking to your life today? What's he whispering to you? And if you're here today and you're stressed, you're in a stressful season, and you feel the social pressure, you feel like you're trying to do it all, trying to have it all. Maybe you feel like you have too many options in front of you. You don't know which one to take, and it's stressing you out. I want to pray for you. And if that's you today, just everybody's heads are bowed. If that's you, you're stressed out, and you just want me to pray for you, would you slip up your hand today? Let me pray for you. Hands are up all over the place. Father, I pray for every person whose hand is up today, every person who's feeling the stress, every person who's feeling the weight of their decisions, the weight of trying to do it all and have it all, and the social pressure and the options, maybe trying to determine your will for their life, God. I pray that you'd direct their steps. God, help us to evaluate what's going on in our lives, to determine what matters most, to eliminate some things that maybe don't belong, some things that are good but they're not great. Thank you for that. Thank you for the power to walk out of here different today than we came in. And with your head still bowed, if you're here and you would say, Pastor Ben, the problem for me is that God's not first in my life. And today I need to elevate God back to his rightful place as first in my life. Jesus said to seek him first. And today, I want to make Jesus the Lord of my life. I want to put him in his rightful place. I want to elevate him to the number one spot, to the top of my list today. I want to give him my life, complete control. If that's you, on the count of 3, I want you to just slip up your hand and I'm going to lead you in a prayer. I'm not going to single you out. But if that's you, 1, 2, 3, come on, slip up your hand today. I see you. Thank you. 1, 2. Anybody else would say, that's me, Pastor Ben. I'm ready to go all in today, to put Jesus the top of my list. Amen. Come on, all across this room today, let's say this prayer. Say, Jesus, I give you my life, my heart, my soul, mind, and strength. I surrender. Will you forgive me for doing things my way? Cleanse me, wash me, make me new. Give me a fresh start. I'm putting you in your rightful place today, the Lord of my life. From this day forward, I will live for you the best that I know how. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Come on, church. Come on. Can we just give God praise today? Let's thank God.